Mark Messier, and you're listening to Blue Shirt Underground Show, the #1 Rangers podcast. Make sure you tune in and find out all the latest news. Let's go Rangers.
Blue Shirt Underground, motherfucker!
Can't BS a Ranger fan. Can't BS a Ranger fan.
This is an unlawful gathering. This is an unlawful gathering. The truth is out there. The truth is out there.
This is the underground. This is new media. This is the underground. This is new media.
Ranger fans, report to the critical thinking hangar. Ranger fans, report to the critical thinking hangar.
And now here is the starting lineup for the New York Rangers. And now here is the starting lineup for the New York Rangers.
This is New York Rangers hockey. 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 This is New York.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Blue Shirt Underground Show. Today is Wednesday. It is March the 20th, year 2024. That music. My name is Jim, and as always, joined on the other side of the window by the one and only, often imitated, seldom duplicated, Eddie Geik. Eddie, good evening, sir, and how are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing fine as frog hair split three ways.
Is this your John F. Kennedy impersonation? I'm doing well.
I am finer than frog hair split three ways.
I pledge to win the cup in this decade.
I will win the cup not only in this decade, this year, regardless of what the naysayers might say. Yeah, I'm doing good. How about you, Jim? How was your weekend? The whole bit. I mean, we're a little bit. It's Tuesday night. Well, it's Wednesday night, but
Wednesday.
Yes, it's Prince Spaghetti Day in Boston right now.
Anthony.
So
Prince Spaghetti Day. I'm doing well. Doing well. I am done with this weather. Done.
Well, it's the first day of spring, man.
Oh, done. When is it going to get here? It's 40 degrees. It's cold. It's gray. It's raining. Done.
I wore shorts today.
Got these two. I had these 2 Sundays, like this past Sunday and 2 weeks ago. Had this little tease. Sun's out. It's like 65 degrees. I watched the Ranger Islander game out on the patio on Sunday with the TV, the whole bit. And then the next day, it's 40 degrees again. I'm done with it. Enough. I have done my winter. I am through.
Well, I think I'm with you. I if it's over 45, I'm wearing shorts. I wore shorts today. I don't care if the people look. They snicker as I pass by, probably for other reasons, but I just blame it on the shorts.
I want my shorts. I want my music. My sunny days on the patio. I want my tan.
No, but people like those patio shows. Dr. B.
My vacations.
Listen, like the audio, yes. Your vacations.
Concerts.
I
want it all. I hate the cold weather.
I feel more alive during the summer.
Yes.
Yes, more, out and about and living. Everybody's got that preference.
Once Christmas is over, I'm done. I'm ready for the nice weather.
Have you taken down your Christmas stuff?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
There are a lot of people around me that haven't taken it down.
Millie has a decoration rotation in this house. There is Christmas is over. We We typically leave the Christmas stuff up until her birthday, which is January 9th. January 9th, it all comes down, and then up goes the Valentine's stuff. She decorates for Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day is over. She decorates for St. Patty's Day. St. Patty's Day is over. And this year, Easter's early. So there's a very small window for St. Patrick's Day decorating. So St. Patrick's Day, is going to come down probably in the next couple of days. Easter will go up, and then we transition into spring. Then we'll go to 4th of July. And then before you know it, she's putting the pumpkins back up, and it's 40 degrees again.
Huh.
Not even close, Mike. It's not Esmeralda. It's Isla Morada.
Oh. Well, I'm glad that spring has sprung, and let's hopefully it gets warm quick. And we're watching hockey into July.
Yes.
Speaking of which, this is a Ranger broadcast, as I remember.
Yeah, it is.
Yes. By the way, the most highly rated Ranger broadcast out there.
Very highly rated.
Without corporate sponsorship. May I?
That's true. Commercial free.
Commercial free. All because of you lovely people.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
But if anyone wants to sponsor the show,
yes.
1-976-1313.
Yes. Sports phone or Crazy Eddie's or
right.
What was the
Anybody.
other one? Puppy
Chico's
City.
Bonds.
Puppy City.
Puppy City. Free
with their-
wee pads.
Yeah, they're free housebreaking wee pads.
Right.
We
Milford Inn.
Speaking of wee pads,
The Milford Inn.
we'll be in the playoffs soon while these other teams in the New York metro area will be pissing on the porch with the other puppies.
Right.
The big dogs enter the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Weeks away.
The Islanders are falling like Skylab. There's a really old reference. And the Devil Dogs just don't seem to care.
April 15th is the last game of the season.
Now, for you guys, has it gone quick or not so quick? Jonathan Quick.
To me, the season always goes fast because we've got games, we've got recaps, we've got shows, we've got viewing parties. There's a lot going on. So, to me, it goes very quickly. And then before you know it, we're out in the first round.
Not this year. Not this year. We'll get to that. Everybody seems to go on right on the first topic. The agenda, I guess the first subject on the agenda right now, let's go with them. They're talking about Brian Boyle's job last night between the benches.
The chat room sets the agenda.
Yeah, you set the agenda. So I'll go right to Jim with his thoughts on this.
You're going to let me go first?
I'm gonna throw it to you.
Wow.
It's Brian fucking Boyle.
There he was between the benches. After some studio work last night, they put him between the benches. And I really don't know where that idea came from. I mean, that seemed awful creative for MSG to actually try and put
very out of the box. Very
right, an out of the box thought, because it's not like Giannone had the night off or was working the circus or the rodeo or one of the other 14,000 events that go on in that building.
Took us rodeo, took us cowboy.
He was there. He was working the studio.
He's
terrible. So, and not only did they put Brian Boyle between the benches, they literally give him carte blanche to speak. And I mean, there's no throwing it to Brian or Brian Boyle. When Brian Boyle wanted to talk, he talked.
Yeah.
And when he spoke very well. It was no contrived bullshit. It was no fake made up stories like you get from Giannone. There was real insight. There was honest what the Rangers were doing well, what wasn't working, why this happened. He threw in some hockey terms in there that he was using.
It said a sauce pass
for a broadcast that features two 90-year-old, dementia suffering, no relation, hardworking. Same thing over. It was very forward thinking of MSG to put Brian Boyle
What
between the
must have
benches last
happened?
night. And I thought he was very, very good. Very,
I
very good.
saw a couple people did not like it, but I
don't know
enjoyed
what's
it.
not nobody disliked him as a player more than I did, and I don't understand what was not to like.
I got to tell you, I was the first period I didn't watch. I was in and out of the broadcast. I was like, "Who's this guy speaking?" Because they weren't showing anybody, and I go, "Well, that's not Maloney, and it's not Genome because it sounds like a man." And I'm like, I was trying to figure out, and then I said, "Oh, it's Brian fucking Boyle," and I was very, very impressed.
Oh,
I
it's
was like,
Brian fucking Boyle.
yeah. And he did a good job. I hope he stays there. And I like the fact he's not none of that. What are you seeing down there, Brian? No, he's just speaking freely.
Right. No name dropping just to make it sound like he's cool between the benches, because everybody knows John Giannone's not cool. There's nothing cool about him.
No, he's completely. What did you say before we went on? He's just not interesting.
Oh, he's like a cashier.
Yeah,
He's been
he's
there
at a
40
bank.
years and he's had no advancement in his career.
Exactly. I mean, I met the guy when he was doing the Bill Chadwick show. I guess as an intern
John?
at. Hey, Gino, get me my coffee. And I guess he was like 20-ish, maybe been there. What was he like? He's been like 30 years with this fucking organization. He's remained a bank clerk. He never got a bank manager job. He never nothing.
I'm scratching. He's still sweeping up floors. He's still carrying Sam's bag.
How could you not develop a personality?
I'll let you make your own joke there.
Yes. Mike raises a good point there. Maybe those MSG honchos read Phil Mushnick. I mean, they just watch this show. If somebody just happens upon this show, we've been screaming this for 10 years, a decade. Maybe longer.
Right, almost 15 years.
Yeah, I mean, so
he's not good. The ghost of Christmas boring.
He's just horrible. So I really liked what Brian Boyle was saying. He was describing what was going down on the ice. No editorializing, which those guys do the entire game.
Right. No, he was a breath of fresh air. Between him and Dave Maloney just a couple weeks ago, I've gotten a tease of life without the three boneheads. Well, two boneheads anyway. Sam, I don't care if Sam sticks around. I really don't, because I think he's just fine with Dave. I know you disagree, but I think he's just fine with Dave. I think Joe brings out the worst in Sam.
Sam can't remember names.
Who can?
That's true. I'm facing some of that myself. Okay.
Jam-packed chat room already. Good to see all you guys.
Want to talk.
Millions watching around the world.
I mean,
so happy you guys are here.
Yeah, things are going good. I mean, last night was a little bit of bump in the road.
But let's look at the big picture here. The Rangers have played 6 games in the last 9 nights and came away with a W 5 times.
That's right.
5 out of 6. What? I mean, we're really going to lose our mind over last night? We're really going to concede first place, as I see people doing already?
Oh, God.
This team now,
it doesn't take much for this.
Mistaken, this team now holds the team record for the longest time spent in first place of any New York Ranger organization in history, breaking the record of the hallowed, don't ever forget because we won't let you, 1994 New York Rangers. This team has now spent more time in first place, if I heard that correctly over the weekend, and I believe I did.
Dan, you're from New Zealand?
We've got fans that want to concede first place because they lost a game to Winnipeg.
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah, come
Well,
on.
if we finish second, it'll be all right. And then
I
maybe
gotta
we get out
tell
in the
you.
first round. Come on. Come
I
on.
don't know.
Be better than that.
Come on, you
Be
gotta
better
be better.
fans.
I mean, the
Be
Rangers
better
lose a game
fans.
and it's like fold up the tents. It's ridiculous. I don't
And you
know.
guys know I'm not talking to you.
Right. We're talking about the other dumb coughs that are not participating in this show and out there saying stupid things.
Encourage your fellow fan to better efforts.
I mean,
Well, Danielle, they're not very good. They're terrible. Everybody knows that.
we all know they're a very good regulars. We're all waiting for the playoffs because
Right.
last year, we were very successful, although we were not at the top of the division. We certainly had a good year, and we got to put it frankly, we got reamed. So everybody's kind of cautionary. I mean, the Rangers aren't. But if you look at these other teams, I don't know. The Rangers have been one of their biggest things this year is overcoming adversity with the injuries. They've had a lot of injuries compared to last year. I mean, devastating. I mean, as much as we bagged on Filipino, he was a guy that, he was part of the kid line, the supposed kid line, plays a lot of minutes. He was our third line center. They managed to get through 65, whatever games they got.
He was a stabilizing force, and he was somebody that you felt like he was improving.
Right.
So, there was when he's not a superstar, but I think it's fair to say that they felt his loss at times.
Yeah. And,
right?
At least we remember that 2 years ago in the playoffs, he was one of the Rangers' better players.
Yes, he was.
So that'll have to be addressed when we hit the postseason. But then we had the Adam Fox injury, which I know was only for 2-3 weeks. I think we lost Adam. And Eric Gustafson, stepped up. And the Blake Wheeler injury later on.
Which now seems like a lifetime ago.
Yes, it does.
I was thinking about that last night. I'm like, Nick Menino and Blake Wheeler in this lineup seems like a lifetime ago.
Yeah, and Tyler Potluck.
Yep, gone.
Like all these guys and I give credit to Laviolette because he really, I guess this preseason, he really did take a look at everybody. And you always see the same thing. We're taking a look at this guy. We're looking at everybody in camp. I feel like they actually evaluated these guys, in the short period they had, and they got rid of some of the older guys early and brought up the younger guys. Will Cooley made the team. I don't want to do a whole recap of what happened. Will Cooley made the team. And then with the injection of Brodzinski and Rempe and Edstrom, they call Brodzinski's been with the team for quite a while, but and the defenseman that he's brought up, they really have used a lot of the younger players, which for me is completely refreshing because usually they stick with these guys until they're keep going. You can see. I mean, they beat us over the head with these veterans for 82 games, and it's like, come on. So he seems to be pushing and pulling the levers just the right way. And the Rangers have had injuries, and now with Ryan Lindgren, this is going to be a tough. And now Trouba's been out. They still managed to win. What they win 5 out of 6 without Trouba, something close to that.
6 out of 9.
6 out of 9.
Trouba's been out 2 weeks since the trade deadline, right?
Right. And this is a guy we all know his influence with the hits and block shots and the impact he can make on a game when he chooses. You know, he eats up a lot of minutes, and they seem to have, survived. Even last night, they didn't give up many shots. They got a couple bad bounces that went in the net, and Rangers, they peppered Hellebuck. I mean, maybe it wasn't like the super quality shots, but so
I didn't feel like they created enough traffic in front of Hellebuck last night. It made it. He had a pretty good sight on just about everything.
Yeah, I mean, yes. I just thought that they didn't really. Yeah, I'll agree with that. And so I feel like the Rangers have traversed a lot of adversity this year, and probably more than the last couple of years. They could have folded when Filipino went down. I've seen Ranger teams just like, oh, we don't have a third line center, and oh my god. And they've weathered it. Let's talk turkey. Let's keep it brass tacks. Let's keep it street level. The first line, especially Mika Zibanejad, has been a no-show even strength the whole year. I mean, can we agree on that?
Certainly a lot of it.
I mean, these guys should be having a lot more impact than they're having. I mean, wasn't Mika close to 40 goals last year?
Yeah,
and he's got like what 25 or something. I mean that is
22 goals.
Yeah, not even 25. I'm bragging. He adds a lot of other things, but if we had both those lines going, the Rangers are, and that's why I'm holding out before I bury Mika and before I bury. I'm not I don't have the shovel out yet. Maybe the playoffs is when it starts. Remember, a lot of people were here saying get rid of Panarin before the year. There was a lot of that. He's overpaid. He doesn't do anything in the playoffs. But this year, it's going to be tough to close that line down because it's not just Panarin. Trocheck is playing fantastic. Alexei Lafreniere is legit as far as I'm concerned now. The last 15, 20 games, he has turned it on. He had a lot of shots on net last night. Just the confidence that he's playing with, you could see the difference in this player. He's maturing, as they say, Jim. And it's going to be hard to shut those guys down.
If you want to do a little comparison here, last year, I'm looking at last year, right? Mika Zibanejad had 18 even strength goals. This year, he has 10. Last year, Chris Kreider had 24 even strength goals. This year, he has 18. Last year, Vinny Trocheck had 13 even strength goals. This year, he has 13. Last year, Artemi Panarin had 20 even strength goals. This year, he has 28.
Wow.
But Zibanejad's number, I don't even think Kreider, 18 goals at 5-on-5. It's not enough. Is it?
I mean, only 18 games this season where he got a 5-on. Well, I don't know if he had multiple goal games. He would say, but that's not a lot. I don't know. It's mystifying, but again, playoffs are going to be a different animal.
And Mika's, excuse me, hold on. Mika had, am I looking at last year? Okay, I just want to make sure I'm on the right tab. Mika had 32 even strength assists last year. And this year he has 14.
Wow.
I'm sorry, 21. 21.
That's
21.
Not as a big differential, but still
Sorry.
concerning. We all know he's having a um,
Nice is playoffs. You can turn it all around. Everybody starts.
hold on one second, Jim. Could you vamp while I
Yes. The nice thing about what I was saying was the nice thing about the down regular season. Oh,
what, did you lose me?
nope, there you are. I see you now. Okay.
Okay.
So, yes, Mike, I agree. They've been much better with Roslovic, but still have to, I still think that it's not unheard of to expect more production from both of them.
All right.
Excuse me. I'm still getting over this cold. So yeah, just a quick look at the numbers there, but
that's
it's nice that it's nice that Panarin's numbers are up from last year. Thank God they are.
right.
But still it's so much production coming out of that first, whatever you want to call them, the first line, you call them the second line, whatever you want to call them. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, that is the first line, and they are getting the bulk of the ice time now.
And I do think that when teams, whoever they play, whether it's Tampa or whoever, they're going to be matching up against that line, which will hopefully free up. And Mika and Chris Kreider are going to have to, as well as Roslovic. We got to admit, the two guys that they added. I mean, what's your assessment of these guys? It's like 6-7 game evals. Where I think we're past the point where we can make a fair judgment. What do you guys think, Jim? What do you think about these guys?
I still like what both of them have brought to the team, and Roslovic's been able to get a couple of points on that line. And again, I was very surprised. It never occurred to me when they traded for him that he was going to go on the first line. I thought he was just brought in to be another bottom six guy because that's what he's been. But it's worked out pretty well. He seems to fit in well with the two of them. He does some of the things they won't do. Work the boards, work the corners. And, he's a speed guy, which is good. I like Wenberg as well. He got a goal last night. And, he plays penalty kill. He plays power play. He's pretty much been as advertised. And Ruhwedel, best thing I can say about him is he's only played one game, and I didn't notice him.
Right.
A
lot of people, as we go with the flow, a lot of people upset about Chris Kreider's lazy play last night.
Bad turnover on the one goal.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, you play that many games. I think
we have watched Chris Kreider now 13 years with the team. It's what you get.
Yeah, you're going to get a lunkhead move here and there, but there's nobody better in front of that net at tipping the puck in.
He's just not engaged 100% of the time. And, sometimes, and he's going to make mistakes sometimes, just like every other player on the ice.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you have those.
On the other hand, I thought he was within about 3 inches of tying that game. He had that deflection on his stick, and the puck just wasn't. It was rolling a little bit, and it just went wide of the net. I thought he had it. He was in the right position. He got a hold of it, and if he had just gotten more of it, that game's tied. Amazingly.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we as fans live and die at every play. At least at least us in this group and on the show. But I mean, in the long haul, and I think somebody brought it up already. Brett brought it up. Rather have him do it now than in May and June.
Right, and you also you have to take there's a lot of things you got to take into account. The fact that they've played so many games in a short amount of time. Everybody they're playing is is either on the fringe of the playoffs or gunning for position. They're in first place. So, everybody's gunning for them at this point. Everybody's playing them tough. Even Pittsburgh and the Islanders played them tough over the weekend, and those are two bad teams. And they're in the middle of a tough stretch. They're missing two of their best defensemen. I don't even know why I'm making excuses for them losing one game out of the last 6.
No, we're just going
here we
over.
are.
Yeah, that's what happens.
But here we are.
We should be. I guess
I think they get to a certain point in the season where they're just ready for the season to be over too.
Right. Well, you could see. I mentioned this on the last show. There are a lot of teams that are bad that are they are mailing it in night after night. Every time I look at the scoreboard, it's San Jose losing 6-1. They were losing that like in the regular season, earlier in the season. But now you're seeing teams that just, we want to get out of here. And with the Rangers, they've been playing some tough teams. Tampa Bay, they're a good team. We're probably going to see them in the playoffs. Winnipeg has like one more win than we do. These are good teams. Again, they did struggle against Pittsburgh and somewhat against the Islanders, but they got the job done. And
yeah, they were tight games, and then the Rangers kind of ran away with them.
Right. Basically, the Islanders or Penguins can't hang with the Rangers for 3 periods. It's just not going to happen.
They shouldn't anyway.
Yeah. And so I'm, again, I kind of like what Danielle Stewart. Do I think this team is is perfection? No, I don't. Do they have some flaws? But I've seen them overcome a lot of adversity. Like I started the whole thing off with. That shows me they got a little bit of fucking balls, a little couillons. And I think it comes from the coach. The coach is what I'm putting a lot of faith in. Now, listen, it might come to bite us all in the ass, but right now, with all the different personnel he's had in and out of there, it's all worked, And when the Rangers went in that little slump, everybody said, oh, wait a minute. Well, not everyone. There were some people, oh, what's the difference between him and Gallant? See, they should have never fired Gallant. That erroneous on both counts.
Right.
So,
Erroneous on both counts.
So you're exact, that I still have a lot of faith in the team. I just want Shesty. Shesty seems to be back. That was my main concern going into the All-Star break. Is this guy fucking finished? Can you get inside his head? He is a bit of a diva. Could we all agree that he's a diva without thinking that we're crucifying the guy?
Well, you've asked that question before, and I said I think all goaltenders are divas to a bit of a,
I feel like he's even more of a diva.
More than Hank?
Yes.
The diva?
On the ice, he is. I think Hank was more of a diva in the locker room and the behind the scenes. But he is, if he even barely gets touched on, Shesty is up and talking to that referee.
There is a lot of gesticulating. Is that the right word?
Yeah,
after goals.
Yes.
Waving the arms, running to the referees, looking around. There's a lot going on there when he gives up a softie, especially.
Yes, it's always somebody ran into him.
He's right. He's always looking for interference or a high stick or something.
Right. Like, how dare it go in? There had to be some chicanery going on for that
right.
pass. Hey, listen, like Cutter says, all goalies are kooks, but he seems to be a lot more animated. I gave you shite. Well, I was erroneous on both counts. For giving you shite, and I don't know. Maybe I sometimes I come around. I'm a little late. What can I tell you? I don't know. But I think he is. He's, but hey, listen, you want a goalie in there who hates to give up goals. But I often wonder if that affects his composure. You don't want to see a goalie losing composure, but he seems to be doing pretty good. Izzy makes up a good point too, right there. The January slump would have killed the usually kill the Rangers season, but they woke up before the All-Star break. They're a good team, Sam. And I think most of us realize that. Do I think they're a perfect team? No. I would like to have my only wants would be to have more scoring on the bottom two lines. It was just basically Jimmy Vesey and Will Cooley sprinkling once in a while. I mean, but sometimes there's heroes. Your regular season zeros might turn into playoff heroes.
That's right.
Barclay Goodrow comes up with 2 goals in a clutch game, and everybody forgets about that fucking contract in the playoffs.
Exactly. A game-winning goal in a Game 7 of any series gets remembered forever.
Yep. So, everything's good in Rangerland. I'm enjoying watching the other teams fucking suck. Yeah, and Rempe, and I just want to the Rempe. My feeling with Rempe is, I think I said this on the last show. Everybody's the Rempness monster. We got the Rempenstein, which we came up with, the Grim Rempe, and all this fighting nonsense. I'm telling you, he's not a good fighter.
And he was Rempenstein here before anybody knew who he was.
That's right.
Remember that.
I don't think he's the greatest of fighters. I want to see him play the game. That's where he makes a difference. So
go to your Google, type in New York Ranger podcasts, and when the 8 pages of them come up, listen to any of them and see if any of them were talking about Matt Rempe a year and a half ago, like we were,
or Bobby Trevino.
Or Bobby Trevino.
Or who was that other guy you liked too? The other guy who got traded. He's like he had like a weird name, like a French Canadian name or something.
PC Labrie.
Mm-hmm.
That was that was a couple of years ago.
Yeah. So the Empire Strikes Back. Oh, I mean, it's fun to see guys fight, but they need him on the ice if he's going to play the third line. I mean, fourth line, and because he
might still be eligible to play in the rookie games next year too, which is cool.
Really?
Might be. Yeah.
I don't know.
They had a couple of guys who were not rookies, played in the last year's games, but I couldn't go because it was while I was on vacation.
Going off on what Rob Scotty said, former Ranger, Islander, Capital too, I think.
Yeah.
Chris Simon passed. I think he took his own life from what I read.
He did. Yeah, only 52.
He wasn't he? No, that was that Sandy McCarthy that was involved. But Chris Simon, a tough boy, tough guy, but these concussions and all this stuff with the depression and the whole stuff, it's a big deal. It sucks, man. Yeah.
15 years in the league, 144 goals, 161. He was a 300-point guy.
Yes.
Not too bad for a guy not, primarily known for fighting.
Would you say 15 years?
Yeah. 15
That's a lot of years.
Yep. Washington, Colorado, Quebec, Calgary, Islanders, Chicago, Rangers, Minnesota.
Yeah, and he was talented. Like, he wasn't a strictly that Colorado. Didn't he have one really good year with Colorado?
Washington, he had his best year. He had 29 goals.
Yeah,
His 1 year in New York, he had 14 goals in 65 games.
It's not bad.
It's not bad.
I would take that from Rempe every year.
Sure. Minus the 225 penalty minutes.
Well, yeah. You won't be seeing that anymore. That's right. He was a Nordique.
Yep, he was a Nordique.
So that sucks. What else? What else we got to talk about? Well, we could talk about let's think. What else we got to talk about? We could talk about the other teams. What's this thing I hear about the Islanders aren't drawing now? I really just can't believe this. This is a shocker, Jim.
Just wait till they get a new arena. That's all.
Yeah, they need a new arena.
Just wait till they finally get a home.
Yeah, because they really need a home to call their own.
Right. In a balanced report from Laura Albanese in Newsday, obviously I was ready with this. The team's hometown newspaper writes that parking issues, rising season ticket costs, ongoing construction, and time spent commuting are among the reasons why attendance has dropped nearly 5% since the arena's inaugural season. Recently, season ticket holders were on the receiving end of a double whammy. Not only were their season ticket prices going up, but certain fans would no longer have access to the Belmont Park garage, which means they would now likely have to park in the Emerald lot, which requires either a lengthy walk to the arena during some tough weather months or sometimes lengthy wait for a shuttle before and after games.
Okay.
I don't think the Islanders appreciated how big of a deal it was, Andrew Ford of Bethpage said in the story. I told him if I don't have the option of taking the garage, I'm just going to pick and choose my games because there's really no benefit to being a season ticket holder, just like there's no benefit to being a New York Islanders fan. The campus at Belmont Park is going through a makeover and facelift with a new Belmont Park grandstand for the horse track to go along with Belmont Park Village.
Belmont Park Village?
Yes, we're the Islander fans are the village idiots. There's already been the opening of the new LIRR station and the park at UBS Arena as a pre- and post-game destination for fans before and after Islander home games. The construction in and around the arena has an impact on parking, and the location of the arena creates congestion for drivers, whether they're attending an Islanders game or not.
Well,
these aren't the days of the Nassau Coliseum where you could buy yourself a $6 ticket a few hours before game time to watch the Islanders take on the Coyotes on a Tuesday night. Those days are forever over, and even if you get into the arena for a reasonable price, the cost of parking and concessions adds up. UBS Arena is a state-of-the-art building that the Islanders have been waiting for. The Islander fans have been waiting for forever, said Port Jefferson's Willie Huber, but it's obnoxiously expensive.
Oh, please, it's not that bad. Go to the Garden.
Well, hold on. According to the 2021-22 NHL Fan Cost Index, cited in the report, the cost of attending an Islanders home game for a family of four is $445.84, which ranked 16th in the NHL.
What's the Rangers? Does it say the Rangers?
I don't know. It doesn't say. But look, I'd pay $445 not to go to an Islander game. Don't make me go. Here's a check for $445.
They don't belong. Diane's right. Get them out of here. They don't belong here.
Move them to Kansas City. I'm going to Kansas City.
There's only one team in New York. I mean, if you want to go to the whole Buffalo Sabre, fuck it. But in the metropolitan area, and I'm sorry, I know you're from New Jersey, but that's not the metropolitan area. I'm talking about 5 boroughs. You could call that Queens, but you know what? It's still Long Island. I mean, it's Queens, rather. It's not Long Island. If anybody knows about
Frisco.
If anyone knows about the Long Island person mentality, okay, it's me. All right? These Long Island people.
You are the heartbeat of Long Island.
That's right. I am. They thought going to the Coliseum was a trip. And the train, playoffs, the train is like, oh my God, huh? You're taking the train? Well, you can't take the car. That's too long of a drive for these people. They don't know how to navigate anything. I don't even know how they find the doorknob to get out of the fucking house in the morning, these people. If they leave in the morning. So the thing is that it's a whole production. Now, us Ranger fans out of here on the island, we know it's worth it to go to the Garden. All right, we're gonna get reamed money wise. We all know that. You leave from here on Wrong Island, you leave out here around Concord where I'm at. It's gonna cost you like $45, $50 round trip. You're already $50 in the hole before you even get there.
Now, is that are you talking driving and parking, or is that if you take the train from?
If I take the train,
take the Long Island Railroad.
Yes, and then you're tethered to the schedules. You got to be there. You got to leave at a certain time, and it's the ride home. It's always packed because the Garden always sells out, and there are a lot of people go from Long Island. It's jammed. You got to fucking sit next to some guy who smells like fucking Funyuns and shit like that. I mean, it's not a pleasure, complete pleasure. So, and the Ranger experience is a lot different than the Islander experience is. First of all, the Islanders are losers. Their fans are all cretins. They're all the infirmed, as I've mentioned before. Not a fun group, very delusional. Not a lot of old grizzly Islander fans there because they've abandoned the team for either death or better hobbies. So you get a lot of these 30-year-old. What?
Death or syphilis.
Yeah, death or syphilis for Joy Rosen or whatever. And you get a lot of these 30-year-old kind of, I don't know. They still got some, hey, let's take the train. But the older people aren't really with them anymore. They've been losing for 30, 40 years now. It's just not happening. So you got a young fan base. The team has absolutely no star power. There's not one guy you would want to go and see play every night. And me and you were talking about this before the show. You could blow smoke up my ass of how great Matthew Barzal is. He is not a difference maker. Anders Lee, Mad Men, Brock Nelson from 1955. He is not a difference maker, although he's having a good season. These guys aren't exciting to watch.
No.
Sorokin, he's a good goalie, but he's not having a great year. They don't have anybody that you would just go like, you're like a diehard fan. You got like the Rangers have Panarin. They have Kreider. They have Fox. They have
glitz and glamour.
Glitz and glamour. Guys who have won hardware.
Thank you, Chris.
Turkin, Vezina, Fox, Norris. I mean, so they don't have that luxury. Plus, these Islander fans are fickle. When they made this, they're fickle and they're realistic in some part. Their team has absolutely, and I mean this as unbiased as I can get, no future. This team is bereft of any prospects, talent, or youth. The cupboard is bare, and I love it.
Couldn't happen to a more deserving franchise or fan base.
I don't even think Lou Lamoriello is alive. I feel like the trading deadline, you can't even get excited if you're an Icelander fan at the trading deadline. They don't do shit. They're terrible. And I'm glad 5%, 10%, 20%. It's just going to get worse. You don't win, the people don't come. That's the story of that franchise since the beginning. They won some cups. People came. They didn't win cups. Ziggy Palffy had a good season. No, what was that other guy they had? David Volek had a good season. They came. After that, yes, they are AARP. They are the oldest, most boringest team in the league. Watch them win 10 in a row and make the playoffs. Still, the fans aren't loyal. They're not loyal. Why should they be?
Why should they? Right. Why should they be?
Team is a loser. It plays in a building that's like 50 miles away from its fucking fan base. It costs too much, as you mentioned in the article that you read. They're disgusting. And the fans
build them a new arena. That'll fix everything.
Throw them to Hamilton. Don't they want a team? Right. They need their own arena, Jim. Like you said, you started off. They need something to call their own.
Right.
Maybe I'm used to the prices because I've gone there, for other events. It's just New York prices. What you gonna pay? This Joy scores in the parking lot, but they don't have any stars. And
they had one. They let him walk. They let him go.
Yes, I think they did, but Tavares was never. He was really good. I don't know. Yeah, they did let him walk. Let's throw that on them. I'll go with that just for the sake of piling on. So,
I mean, he's a 1,000-point guy.
Yes,
400 goals. How do you let that just walk? And they just let him walk.
I don't even think
if you're a franchise like that, in a precarious position as it is, because you're the number 2, maybe the number 3 team in the metro area, including New Jersey. Sorry, Eddie. I mean, you're desperate for attendance and you let your star, the centerpiece of your franchise. We'll be fine. We got Matt Barzell. We got Andersley. We'll be fine.
Well, I mean, I don't want
people will come to see me.
I agree with you. I agree with you totally. And I will also put this into it before we end the State of the Island address here. Well, this Lou Lamoriello, he's got what's his face? What's the guy's the GM of Nashville? What's his name again? The coach there with no neck.
Oh, Barry Trotz.
Barry Trotz. They go to the Eastern Conference Finals 2 years in a row. And because Barry Trotz wants to renegotiate his contract, and that's a shanda against what Lou Lamoriello, this fossil, stands for, he jettisons Trotz. They have the most success in their recent franchise, and they jettisoned the only thing. Now, granted, I didn't like that kind of hockey they were playing with all this defensive-minded shit. But still, you had something good, and what you replace it with? Lane Lambert?
Former Ranger.
Former coach. He sucks. It was terrible. And now they pull Patrick Roy out of mothballs, and even Patrick Roy can't save this franchise.
He's got to be wondering what the hell he was thinking.
He seems to be a little bit of a different kind of Patrick Roy, not as hot-headed, but yeah, you're right. He's got to be like, oh, boy, this is a bad decision. It's like, it reminds me of a Simpsons episode where Krusty is doing Jim Morrison in the late 60s. He's like, bring on through. What was I thinking? Like, I mean, this is like, and it's going to be a continuing story. We all know how this works. We saw it with the Fright House Project. It's just going to keep going down and down. Poor Charlie Wang, Chairman Wang.
The Outhouse Project.
They should have gotten out while the getting was good. because Queens is not Long Island, and Long Island people, you know, they don't have the cash.
By request from the chat room.
Is that Joy Rosen?
John. Dear John.
Oh yeah.
Dear John Tavares.
And with the first overall pick, the New York Islanders select John Tavares.
On June 26, 2009, you became a New York Islander.
You were the answer to all our prayers.
For 9 years, you were part of the New York Islanders, and many of those years, you were the captain.
You were seen as the face of the franchise, the savior. You were the chosen one.
By the way, if you took part in this video, you deserve to be banished from being an NHL fan.
I'll agree.
We looked up to you. Kids looked up to you.
You were not just only the Islanders captain, you were the fans captain too.
Shut up,
You were a
whore.
class act, but looks like it was just all an act.
Do you remember saying that you loved Long Island?
I've always stayed at home, which I love it here.
Do you remember saying how great players stay with their team their whole careers and how you wanted to do the same?
This is obviously where I hope to be, and I've always stated that.
Do you remember saying how you wanted to lift a Stanley Cup here in Nassau with the Islanders? Because I did.
Captain John Tavares is now a Toronto Maple Leaf.
Very fortunate to be here and happy to call myself a Maple Leaf.
On July 1st, you chose to go home to Toronto.
You turned us all down. You hurt us all.
You really just seem to care about yourself, not all those young Islander fans whose hearts you've broken.
You went from being...
Are these people fucking insane?
Yes.
I mean, these people are insane.
Welcome to my world.
You're in tears because you just now realized hockey is a business. None of these people ever quit their job at White Castle to go work at McDonald's because it was a better situation. This guy right here, Beardy, this guy should be banished from ever attending a hockey game again. This is so pathetic.
The captain.
How come we have I feel like we've neglected this video. This video should be playing every week on our show.
Every time they lose.
Every time they lose. Hold on. Let me see if I take this out of I can't. Can we default view? Let me do this. There, that's better.
The savior, the chosen one, to a lying
Traitor.
snake, pajama boy.
I'll never forgive you for those 9 years that you systematically destroyed when you signed that Toronto Maple Leafs contract.
I'm kind of happy that this happened when it did, so my son didn't grow up having that heartbreak, having to leave. He's too young to understand.
Look at this kid. This kid. This right here. This is the face of the Islander fan base right here.
This kid's got his own podcast now.
This is pathetic.
If you had stayed, you would have been under the best coach, Barry Trotz. You would have gone from being a good player to a great player.
Your legacy as an Islander, it's tarnished forever.
The team is doing a lot better without you. I guess it's like addition by subtraction.
You can count your money in Toronto while we sit in first place.
This guy's literally getting choked up.
His voice is cracking.
I mean, this is like Kirk at Spock's funeral. Of all the souls I've encountered in my travels, his was the most human. Look at this guy, Matt Taub.
Guess what? We're fine. The Islanders are going
Claire.
to win a cup.
Yeah, you're also fine. You had to go stand out in the parking lot of this shithole where Joy Rosen's stains are still in the parking lot to cry about this guy. Get out of here.
And this chick's got blue
Without
syphilis on her lip.
With the kid who won the Calder.
We got some great pieces, and obviously lean with the kid who won the Calder Trophy this year.
He has a name. His name is Matt Barzal.
Here's Barzal. Shoots and scores. Barzal with a hat trick tonight in Toronto.
You might remember him. He scored a hat trick against your team.
Seriously? His name is Matt Barzell.
From John Tavares to Matt Barzell.
Goodbye, John.
Thanks for leaving. Say good riddance. Say bye.
And February 28th, we will chant as loud as possible.
I hope that baby's first words were, "It's a power play goal."
Yeah. I hope that
Possible.
kid got-
We don't need you. Because we don't.
That is seriously one of the most pathetic things I've ever seen in my life.
That's like if Tyler Mott.
I can't believe we've left that alone for this long. I mean, I think we played it once.
I think we did play it once way back
think we
when
played
it
it once.
happened. That's like us losing Tyler Mott and being like, Tyler Mott, guess
We don't
what?
need you.
We don't need you. We've got a guy
Could you-
named Sammy
could you
Blay.
Ever, in your wildest imagination, could you? I'm trying to put this into perspective here. Could you imagine if I said to you in 1997, Eddie, I think you and me and Larry Fishgold and Patty Duke and Jen and Joe Catroni and Chris DeMeat and Chris's
Shep.
wife, I think we should go stand out in front of Madison Square Garden and do a video telling Mark Messier we don't need you and crying about him leaving. I would expect you to beat the living shit out of me on the air. Like, watch this, folks. Watch what I do to his nuts.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
No, this is the Islander fan has nothing to react to. So this, I mean, it really took on like a spoof mentality. Like you wouldn't believe that they're gonna stand in a parking lot and fake. Do you think? I guess they weren't faking the emotion. These were emotions.
I don't think. I certainly hope Mike Taub wasn't faking that, because that would even make it worse. Only because MSG doesn't have a parking lot. We could go stand in the garage across the street from Madison Square Garden.
We could have done it from what was that? Cafe 31 there. We could have
Beefsteak Charlie's.
Beefsteak
From a
Charlie.
table at Beefsteak Charlie's.
Charlie O's, but like, I can't believe they traded Eddie Johnstone and got Lane Lambert.
Goodbye, Eddie Johnstone. Goodbye, Jamie Ram. We don't need you.
That Mike Taub, he needs a psychiatrist. He's a total mental case. He was ready to cry. You know, it's funny because when I was at that draft. Remember that? That's the Ranger viewing part.
When you did the
That's
video,
the Ranger viewing part of the Ranger Crisis show.
Yes.
When I was telling them to take another goalie. And, oh boy, they were so excited they were getting Tavares. And that was the same year we got Kreider. And if you match them up, I wonder what they are stats wise. I'm sure he has a lot more assists, Tavares. But I think overall he's probably been a better player. But I have to say that that was just so the music too. It's like we got to come up with some sad music. I thought it was like seeing a fucking eulogy at a fucking like a in memoriam. It was like a joke. Yes. Wait.
That was fantastic. I think we need to watch that more.
Diane's got Sean Avery's response to Islander fans. Was that the one that was that directly from that response?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know. I know he's called out Islander fans in the past.
He always does. Yeah, he hates the Islanders and he hates.
He's another stable human being.
He always calls them greasy Islander fans.
So that's the story with those guys. So they're dwindling. And, it's funny in preseason because the Rangers play the Islanders and Devils, and they always kind of like cross pollinate the color guys. Like Joe will be on the Islander broadcast, and Goring comes on ours, and they're always so like smug and hyped about their team. And I'm always like, do you realize your team isn't that good? Like even the Devils. And we got to admit it. With the Devil Dogs, a lot of us Ranger fans, because they beat our ass in the playoffs. What you look oh, it's on YouTube as a short? Okay. I'll talk about
Danielle, these are the Rangers playoff prices?
What are the playoff plays?
100
75? Wow.
That doesn't sound like a lot. $340 for round 4? That doesn't sound like a lot. I don't know.
I like Sbarros.
Speaking of the Rangers.
Okay.
Since that's what we do sometimes. I did want to I have Laviolette from after the game last night. I want to hear what he had to say.
I did not watch this.
No, I didn't either. So let's see.
30 minutes, maybe you would say, where it was pretty close, and you guys definitely had some quality chances, and maybe didn't give up a whole lot. And then it's maybe halfway through the second is when it felt like it turned. Did you see it the same way?
I thought the first and the third were good. The second was probably the weakest period we played. They generated a few more chances than us. It was kind of a low event period. I don't think they generated a whole bunch, maybe half a dozen chances, but we only generated a few, 3 or 4. And, we're a little bit flat through that period. But the first I thought we generated, the third I thought we generated, and I thought our guys were working. They got some good bounces on their goals. They almost a double redirect on the first one, the power play goal that they scored. It hits Key and then goes off his ankle and it goes right out the flank to the guy, and we don't have a chance to recover for it. And it's just a tough game. You want a better result, different result.
The third one that happens at the end of the second, is that the toughest one to swallow?
Yeah, I mean, it was tough. We're trying to make plays at the offensive blue line. We could be a little bit crisper there with what we're doing, but you're in the offensive zone, you're trying to generate, and it goes against you.
Coach, it looks like there were a couple different line changes there in the third period. Was there anything or any combinations you've been interested in trying out, and now it's just a good opportunity?
Well, I just coming off the second period, I just thought we were a little bit flat. We talked about it real quick just to make a change, and switched a couple of centermen and gave it a look for the third period.
The D pairs, anything with any of the stuff you saw later in the game, did you like or think you might consider moving forward?
We'll talk about it tomorrow and make some decisions.
For any impressions of Vermeil in his debut?
I thought he was good. I thought the defense was good. I don't think we gave up too much. They got a couple of odd man breakaways from our offensive zone play, so we got to tighten that up a little bit. They got behind us, but I thought he came in and played steady minutes, good minutes for his first game with us.
I think it was 42 shots, but I mean,
Yep.
Hellebuck, obviously one of the best in the
Yep.
league. Is it even tougher when you're?
Yeah, I mean he's such a big guy in there. But there were there was 42 shots, but there was a lot. I mean, we're mid-20 in chances, and there were some really good chances, some point-blank chances, and we got behind them a couple times to score goals, and just couldn't get it done. We ended up one short at the end of the night.
I think the first half of the third, you had Kreiner out of the top 6 and were playing a little less. Was that?
Yeah, we just moved lines. It wasn't about a top 6 or a bottom 6. It was just again. Coming off the second period, I think we generated 2 or 3 chances, and we were a little bit flat. We're just looking to change and try something different.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
All right, so there's the coach speaking to Eddie and I after the game last night.
Yes, exclusively, except I think wasn't one of those guys Vince Bercogliano?
Yeah, it sounded like he was asking most of the questions.
Yeah. He brought up a question about, and there was a little discussion. I don't know if it was in our group or another group. There's the Rock Man's here.
What's up, Rock?
Man, how are you feeling, man? I saw your video, man. Dude, I hope you're doing much better. You look like you were doing much better. Looks like you lost a lot of weight. I mean, I guess being in the fucking hospital for a month, that'll do it. I wish wow. I don't want to drop weight that way. But anyway, yeah, I hope you're feeling better, brother. Okay. All right. Now, Vince Mercogliano brought up a thing that really irked me, a thing that kind of put a burr under my my saddle.
Hey, when that happens.
Yeah, when I eat a burr in my salad, a burr in my saddle was this thing they call about, I guess they call it nowadays, especially in basketball and even in baseball, load management. What do you think about this load management idea where you rest your best players down the stretch in order to keep everybody healthy?
Well, first of all, you can't do that when you got no cap space. You got to call guys up. You got to put them on the payroll, right? So if you don't have the cap space, you can't do that. I don't know. I think you can. There's rest and then there's rust.
Well, my point was,
I think wasn't somebody? It might have been you saying that other teams in the league. Didn't I hear that other teams in the league play for like another couple of days after the Rangers season is over?
I did not say that.
I thought I heard that from someone. Maybe it was on a broadcast.
Well, here's my thing. How about you first? When I start seeing the Vancouver Canucks and I see Tampa Bay resting Kucherov and I see all these other teams doing it, maybe I'll consider it. Right. But you first. You want to go ahead with this forward thinking, and I don't think it applies to hockey players. Baseball players, come on. They're barely playing. I mean, they get a bruise, they're out for a fucking month and a half. They're standing around. They're not competitors. I'm sorry. They're not as fierce competitors. Basketball, forget about it. I mean, they have a problem with the star players playing teams. You go to see a star play, he might not play because he's played, back-to-back games. They don't compete. A hockey player is a different animal. They want to play max minutes, max games. It all matters to them.
Yeah, so the Rangers' last game of the season is April 15th. The Flyers and Hurricanes' last game of the season is the 16th. The Lightning play the Leafs on the April 17th. So right there, the Rangers are going to get a couple of built-in days. Probably safe to assume that the playoffs are going to start maybe Saturday, April 20th. That's just my guess based on when these teams are ending their season. I mean, these are all Eastern Conference teams that are in the playoff hunt. So, I mean, even then, the Rangers are going to get probably 5 nights off before the playoffs would start.
Now, you came up with that. Somebody else came up with that.
Larry Brooks will write about it.
Well, yeah, he'll write about it. But Mercogliano, he wrote about this without even looking into the fucking thing. And also, I know, Vince, you'll probably watch it too.
16th.
But here's another thing. Hockey players, the Rangers have worked all season. Now, I know we as fans don't put as much in the regular season because we're all in for the playoffs and the ultimate prize. But don't you think you work hard all season that these guys don't want to finish in first place, that wouldn't care if they're winning the President's Trophy, which they have a chance at, would mean something to them? That they're going to say, well, now maybe the coach has different, the GM may have different plans. But I just believe that a hockey player is a different animal than the other two sports. Football, maybe a quarterback, but other than that, I mean, it's also different. There's a shorter season in football. Also, you may want to rest usually in like the last game, you play like half your fucking squad, just to make sure nobody gets hurt. But to me, I thought it was a stupid fucking article.
I can tell you that the Rangers' schedule, regular season schedule, ends before anybody else that's in Eastern Conference playoff contention.
So what do they play? Like, they got to play a lot of games from here on in.
There's, was it 14 games left in the season? 13. Rangers have 13 games left. So they're done April 15th. Everybody else is done either the 16th or the 17th. I didn't look at the caps of the Islanders. I only looked at the teams that are currently in playoff position.
Right. So to me, I thought it was a stupid idea. Why even bring it up? It must have been a slow news day. Yeah, I don't know. So
I just don't see how you do it with cap space. You know, hockey's not a, you know, baseball, you expand the rosters on September 1st, right?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
30 guys or something. I don't know. It used to be 40. I don't know if it's still that. You'd have
You
30
really can't
guys sitting in a dugout at a Mets game in September.
Right.
But, you know, there was no salary cap in baseball. Hockey, you have to take that into account. You can't just have 10 guys healthy scratches.
Right. Somebody's got. Yeah. So that was my thought on that thing. That thing.
I don't think it's the worst idea in the world. I don't see how you do it.
I know. I hear that word load management, and I just like this.
I don't know. It's not like we have a lot of old guys anyway.
And I think the people are thinking, why risk injuries? But you know what? That's the nature of this game. I mean, you play with the hand you dealt.
You could rest 10 of your starters the last regular season game, and somebody could break their ankle the first shift of game one.
Right.
Injuries are going to happen.
So roll of the dice.
The Giants, I was reading an article about the Giants, all their free agent signings. One thing they looked for in every player was their durability. And I'm thinking it just doesn't, you know, it's all dumb luck. You know, the most durable guy could break his ankle on the first play of the game or pull or his Achilles tendon on the fourth play of the new season.
Lou's got a question for us. Are you guys good with the current playoff system or better with the old style?
I don't like the playoff system at all.
I don't like the playoff system.
I like the old way. Rank them 1 through 8, and that's how you do it. I still don't understand why you can't, with travel being what it is nowadays, I still don't understand why you can't just rank the whole league and pair, you know, top whatever, how many teams make the playoffs.
I like that too because
when the Rangers went to the Stanley Cup in 1979, who did they play in the first round?
The LA Kings.
The LA Kings.
I liked it because you got to see teams you don't normally see. But I think that's more of us being, you know, old-timey and kind of like but I would agree. I think I like the old style, the 1 to 8, the 2 through 7. I like that better.
I like the 1 through 8, but you know, I why not 1 through 16? Do you get a better chance of maybe seeing the two true best teams in hockey? Maybe you get a Florida Ranger final if they're the two best teams.
I agree with Matt too. Like in 2002, we played Ottawa. You know, that was different. I mean, you know, some of the teams are not going to be around this year, the Caps and the Penguins. But
yes, I said that last show. For once, it doesn't look like we're going to have to march through Washington and Pittsburgh and fall behind 3 games to 1. We'll have new teams to fall behind 3 games to 1 against.
I was talking on Saturday night. My band was playing, and a couple of Ranger fans. My friend Jude, who listens to the show, watches the show. He's telling me, I meet him.
Hey, Jude.
Hey, Jude. And we were saying, you know, what is with this fucking team in the 7-game series? I am going to anoint. I've just come to this. Peter Laviolette is the greatest Ranger coach besides Mike Keenan if he can win a series in 5 games.
Right.
So we can sit back and just watch instead of suffer.
When was the last time they won a series in 5 games? Or
Well,
was the Thrasher series the last sweep?
I think so. I don't know the last time
I
they
can't
won.
remember the last time they won a series in 5 games. They beat the year they went to the finals against the Kings. They beat Montreal in 6. Penguins. Right, that Penguins team. Yeah, that was a bad Penguins team. They beat them in 5 games. Right. Okay.
Very good, man.
I remember that. Thank you, Matt. Yep. Now I remember. They beat
Yeah.
the Penguins. That Penguins team was they were hurting going into the playoffs.
Hagelin. Yes. The Atlanta sweep. I have that on.
Is that the last? Okay, so is that the last series they've won in less than 7 games?
I don't know. A memory is shot.
I can't think of any. I don't think so. I don't think so.
Oh, where is Costa tonight? What's he doing?
He must be working, making that paper,
making that cheddar. Wow, earning some extra cabbage.
He's got to save up
5.
WrestleMania. He's got to save up for WrestleMania.
Oh man,
I don't know.
Montreal 2017. How come I have no recollection of that playoff series? Coast always has some kind of like hooky faluki job. Everybody remembers his stint as a Walmart security guard in a car with a guy walking out behind him with a TV set.
2017, won the first round over the Canadians in 6 games, lost the second round to Ottawa. Team they never should have lost. I still don't know how they lost that series to Ottawa.
KG Pajot, as I remember.
Yep.
Yeah, he was in the gated community. That's funny.
16, they lost in the first round to Pittsburgh. 15, they won the first round in 5 games. They lost. Okay, they lost to Boston and Ottawa 7 games, Washington 7 games, lost to the Capitals in 5 games, didn't make the playoffs, lost to the Caps in 7, beat the Devils in 08 in 5 games, and then lost to Pittsburgh in 5 games. Swept the Thrashers and then lost to the Sabres in 6, and then gave the guy that beat us a 15-year contract and a lifetime job as GM.
Right. Ron Kaminsky, I believe you're right. That's when Kreider supposedly ran Carey Price.
Right.
Montreal fans will never forgive him for that dastardly deed.
Yeah. But this fan base isn't exactly one to talk about holding a grudge.
Oh, what do you mean? Well, with the Potvin thing?
Yes.
See, I think, again, it is appropriate when they're playing the Islanders. Other than that, it's tiresome.
Right.
It's beating a dead horse. And so I'm not a fan of that. There was a lot of I like to bring up these topics and see where you are at them. I know Capo Caco, he scored a goal or something the other day.
He's had a couple of goals.
Do you think he's on the uptick? What do you guys
He's on
think?
a tear.
See, I don't know if you're being sarcastic or you're smiling, so I think it's sarcastic.
I'm hyping him.
You hyping him?
I think he's become a nice third line player. And again, I'm okay with that.
Pull up his stats.
I got it.
Okay, what's he got? What does he have? 11 goals?
He has 10 or 11.
How many games? He
missed 10 goals in 48 games.
That's right. I forgot about him early with the injuries.
Yep.
He was
He
easy
only
to
played
forget.
48 games. I think he's played well with Wenberg and Cooley, and he's played well on the third line. He's not the solution for that first line. I don't know if Brett Hull could solve that first line. Brett or Bobby.
Because I will say
Or Dennis.
The Kako Dennis Hull.
Dennis Hull.
I think I got to give credit to Ranger fans. They have stuck with Kako, where I've seen many, like myself, abandon ship, women and children first. This guy is just...
There's no way you're letting women and children go first.
No way. Women, yes.
You're like George Costanza running out of that place.
No, not that bad.
Headed for the lifeboat.
Jody Hull.
Jody Hull.
One of the worst quotes. I think it might have... No, it was Roger Nielsen, I think, said, or Tom Webster, one of those guys. Or Ron Smith. I don't know. The Jody... Worst quote I ever saw in the back of Newsday was Jody Hull has to step it up on the power play. I'm like, this guy's a defensive forward. It's like asking, I don't know, like Jan Eriksson to step it up on the power play. Speaking of which, he was a Finn, wasn't he? Oh, he was a Swede. He was a Swede.
Jan Eriksson was a Swede.
I'm going to hazard to guess that Jan Eriksson's career lifetime in goals will equal that of Capo Caco's as a Ranger. I just don't have any faith in this guy. Every goal he gets is a complete, like, gift, though. It's
Jan
like...
Eriksson scored 57 career goals.
How many does Kako got?
How many career goals does Capo Caco have? 54.
Oh, he's right on. Right,
he's about to pass Jan Eriksson on the Swede
on the all-time
on the all-time Scandinavian list.
All right, so maybe I'm underselling him a little bit.
He's become a good third line player, and I'm okay with that. I really am.
All right,
plays a decent enough two-way game.
Well,
they're not all superstars, you know.
No, but
that one just didn't pan out for us.
But you do see some kind of upside with him? You think he can get better?
He's still only 22.
I know, but you know what I've always said?
Just because you're young.
Yeah, just because you're young doesn't mean you're good. You could stink and be young.
He's 23, excuse me.
He's getting older by the minute.
He's getting
I like Sean McCaff's nickname for him, though. The Feckless Finn. Sean, you know, I can't tell if Sean is like pulling like some kind of like reverse psychology when he bashes these Rangers. Because, I mean, Mika is taking a broiling from him. Like, is that supposed to motivate him to play? I don't think Mika's reading Sean. Or is Sean trying to like use some kind of reverse psychology? Jan Eriksson was a very good player. Unfortunately, he was matched up against Mario Lemieux most of his career, and he lost all those battles.
Here's an interesting bit of stat for you.
Oh yeah. Michael Smith sent this.
Mike Smith sent us this today. Alexei Lafreniere has scored more goals since the All-Star break than Jack Hughes, Sidney Crosby, Connor McDavid, Matthew Tkachuk, and Elias Pettersson.
Wow.
Not too shabby.
What about before the All-Star break?
Career high. He's hit a career high, 20 goals. Still could be on pace for 25, which I think is a decent season, right?
If he had a lot of bad puck luck, a lot of missed opportunities, he could easily have 30 goals. And he's looked excellent. He is just, I was worried about him.
I enjoy watching that line play.
And I think where he was drafted, the kind of play, the player, you're starting to see it now, what he was in juniors. I'm sure, not to them like phenom status, but the skill set that he had, it's coming to play. It's a lot of posts. He just
Cutter, how dare you? How dare you?
Yes, Chef's right too. He plays with a little bit of snarl. He's a little edgy, which you gotta like. And I think because, they figure he was a number 1 pick, he might be a little bit soft, but he's not. He'll chirp. The leading goes by Scandinavian is Zook. I don't know. He was
How
Norwegian, Sam.
dare you?
What? What do you want?
He
What
didn't,
did he
even have
do?
he didn't have as many goals as this guy right here.
There he is, Anders Hedberg.
Oh, Joe.
Oh, Joe.
Anders Hedberg had 172 goals as a New York Ranger. Zook
Yes,
had I think 115.
Yes.
113 goals.
When they played was it Tampa? And Anthony Duclair scored?
Of course.
Did you?
I fucking hate that guy now, by the way.
I fucking hate him too. And Sam, was it Sam and Joe? Did they do that game? I think it was, because I remember being aggravated them talking about how great Anthony Duclair is.
Right.
He's on his fucking 9th team. Oh, he scored 30 or 25 goals, 30 goals last year. Then why can't he stay on a team?
Right.
Because he you're back. Or I'm back.
Weird.
Now whoa. I fucking hate him. Now he's got dreadlocks or some shit. That's even. I'm not being racist when I say that, but don't change your hairstyle in the middle of your career. All right.
Thomas Sandstrom, 173 goals as a Ranger.
Thomas Sandstrom. He was fucking fantastic.
Which would actually put him 1 ahead of Hedberg. 1 goal ahead of Hedberg.
1 goal ahead of Hedberg, huh?
Yep.
Can we get Hedberg to come out of retirement? Well, Thomas was a good Ranger or even a better Detroit Red Wing.
I'd love to get Hedberg on this show. I've tried numerous times.
He's one of your all-time favorites.
He was after JD, he was my favorite for a long time.
Mikko Linoleum? Yes, I remember Mikko Leninen. Yeah, he was a coach. Well, that's the last time he was coaching overseas.
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember going to a game with my father. And after the game, all my father would talk about was Mikko Leninen and how he's afraid to get hit. He's like, that guy will never amount to anything. He's afraid to get hit.
Well,
he didn't amount to much with the Rangers.
Well, I remember he had a chance in the infamous Ken Morrow game where he broke his stick and something like that. There's been like 3 Ranger culprits from that game. Either it was Bob Brook did something wrong or Mikko Leninen did something wrong. I forget it now. JD low expectations. Did I have anything else I wanted to talk about other than my hatred for Anthony Duclair?
Mikko Leninen, 31 goals in 159 games as a Ranger.
Yeah, he was more of a defensive specials. That's when you're like European players were like,
don't disrespect JD.
Well,
I was 8 years old. I was a kid. He was the goalie. He had the mustache. He had all the hair. He had the cool mask. Of course, I was going to love JD.
This is before we had stats.
Right.
We didn't know.
All the goalies had lousy stats back then anyway.
Now you talk to an 8-year-old kid. They know all the stats. They're on the computer. They can tell you they're in 15 fantasy leagues. Back then, we had 1 channel, and our guy was the best guy.
Right.
I remember my friend Brian, after Billy Smith won 3 Stanley Cups, arguing that JD was a better goalie than Billy Smith. And even I couldn't agree with him. And I hated Billy Smith. I said, Brian, let it go. Let it go. JD JD's a buffoon. He couldn't stand up. He was the worst skater I've ever seen in hockey.
I'm not going to talk. I'm going to end the show.
Oh, no, please. I'm sorry.
Cutting my.
I'm sorry. But he was.
When you're 8 years old, you don't think of these things.
You
Joe.
don't think of these things.
He was on TV, the pads, the big hair, and I
was
get
a
the yearbook,
big
and I
guy.
can picture his face in my head. His yearbook,
The mask
with the Fu Manchu and the Lone Ranger mask. The guy was
the mask. I mean,
he was larger than life.
He was flopping around like a whale.
He was
Couldn't
hockey
get up.
sock rock or whatever it was.
He was the only goalie I ever seen duck when a shot came. He would go like this. But you know what? He lives in our minds as one of the all-time greats. That's it.
And hey, look, he had a legendary playoff series. Legendary.
And I have all those games on video, digital, whatever you want to say. And every coach says before the game, we know Davidson's going to crack. You just got to get it past him. And he never cracked until Montreal.
But you talk about a guy. You talk about a guy who was zero becoming a hero, right? In the playoffs. Who was more of a playoff story like that than JD?
I mean, you're talking about a guy that like.
I mean, I know his numbers aren't good.
No, they aren't good. But
that 79 Cup run was when I really,
I mean,
became
it's
a
a
fan.
childhood memory.
That was when I can really remember sitting and watching every game that I could for the first time. And here was this guy with these big, gigantic brown pads, and he had all the hair coming out and the beard and the mustache.
What do you think about Danny McGillicuddy, who a well-respected Ranger fan, making this quote? Put it up there for the folks to see, to either agree or disagree. If he has a Jerome McGinley type of career with the New York Rangers, I will be ecstatic.
Well, sure. Who doesn't sign up for that? 30, 40 goals every year?
Yeah.
For 20 years?
I mean, definitely.
So
I I'll take that.
I hope he's right.
I hope you're right, Danny.
I hope you're right.
Maybe I'll start
from your lips to the hockey god's ears.
Yeah, we'll start referring to him as a Ginla now. Well, Ginla, I made that bad pass. He was really good, and he was, he was also played with a little bit of a chip. Yes. Was that when Serge Savard scored? Or was that, I don't remember. He scored an overtime goal. Then I knew it was over when that guy scored, because he was like a defensive defenseman. Whose son's going to, Jerome McGinley's son's going to get drafted? Okay. So what else? Do I have anything else? I don't think so. I mean, my only little, again, there's got to be a little bit, Johnny Brodzinski. Why? Why?
He's been all right.
Bring up. I saw Chef mention Brett Barad. I don't even know if they play the same position. I take a look at Brett Barad. I don't see anything from Johnny Brodzinski that I like. I really don't. But the coach likes him, so I gotta have faith.
Very good, Eddie. For overtime, game 4, Serge Savard in overtime.
Yeah, that was the nail in the coffin. No, Willie wasn't on the 79 team. I got to say that you talk about a whipping boy. He might be an all-time whipping boy, Willie Uber.
Espo gave the Rangers a 3-2 lead early in the third period. Bob Gainey tied it right back up, and they went into overtime.
Wow. So you're an old-timer if you were at that game, Joe. I got to tell you, I couldn't afford tickets for that game. Then again, I was... what was it? It was like 14. Wow. 14-year-old Eddie Geik. I probably cried myself to sleep that night, thinking they were going to win the whole thing.
Jacques Lemaire scored 2 goals in the cup.
That fucking bastard.
Montreal. Little did we know that was only the beginning of the hatred we'd have for that guy.
Oh boy. So that's all I got. The Johnny Bro's got to go.
Scored a goal the other night.
Oh, come on.
I'm just saying.
I don't know.
I don't know. He's up and down with me. I didn't like him the first 50 games. Then I thought he played all right. Started to come around. The coaching staff loves him. That's all I know.
They like
he
him.
can skate. He can shoot. According to Joe, he can really shoot the puck.
Oh yeah. In the AHL,
5 goals.
I like this Brett Barad kid. I wish they would give him a look, but maybe next year. He's a little undersized. I think they know who they want to go to war with it in the playoffs. So it looks like this is going to be. I want Rempe to play.
I mean, Johnny Brodzinski has 16 points in 48 games.
Whoop-de-doo.
Not that bad.
Max Landerman reporting that he was not in the practice lineup today. So that means Rempe was. So that Rempe might be slotted in.
Who was not in the practice lineup today?
Johnny Knockhockey.
Oh. Who has more goals, more assists, and more points than Barclay Goodrow, by the way. Just saying.
Yeah, I know. Barkley took the year off. I don't know what he's doing.
He's waiting for the playoffs.
Well, he better, because then I can't defend the guy anymore. If he sucks in the playoffs 2 years in a row, and he's taking stupid penalties, I can't defend the guy.
Right. Well, let's see if Rempe gets on the ice tomorrow night. Let's see if he plays a clean game. We're going to need him. It's Boston.
From that net, like Chef says. That's all you need to do, and throw a hit. He hits somebody, they go flying 50 feet. He's superhuman. He's like some kind of freak. He's like Reppenstein. Vinny Lettieri, I don't know. He got off to a pretty good start. Or I don't know. I get him mixed up with Vetrano a lot. Anaheim is sunk.
7 points in 38 games for Vinny.
Come on, it's an excuse to play the music at least.
Never ready.
Oh, okay. Wow, I'm stalling. Vinny Lettieri, you mentioned. It's true. Yeah, listen. Hey, you want to get him, my man? We're gonna see if he pay. What did John Cooper say about Barclay Goodrow, Jim?
Said that if you're down, if you're ahead by a goal with a minute left in the game, he's the guy you want on the ice. The stats don't matter with Barclay Goodrow.
He's the Craig McTavish of this team in '94. He's the guy you want out there, and he'll stand up for teammates. So we are pushing our way through on upward and onward, as they say.
Absolutely.
To the stat. Remember what I always say every year. I just want to be in the show. Well, they're going to be in the show this year.
If there's going to be a party, you want to be invited. That's what Eddie Geik.
That's right. And
Eddie Geik and Eddie Jockman, no relation.
Right. I'm trying to think. Jim Nielsen, Jim Schmiedeberg. No
relation.
No relation. Me and it looks like Diana. The only people like out now. What's the schedule looking like?
Boston tomorrow, as we previously.
Which garden are they playing? Oh, the other garden's closed.
They're going to Boston.
Okay.
And then they are home for Florida on Saturday.
Loss.
That's Saturday night. That's an ABC game. And then they're off until next Tuesday, when they will take on the Flyers at MSG. Then they go to Colorado. Then they go to Arizona to play in front of 1,500 people in a college arena. And then they come home for Pittsburgh, the Devils. And then they go to Detroit, home for Montreal, to the UBS Arena where the attendance is less, 5% less.
Well,
to the expensive UBS Arena.
Because the Ranger fans will be there, so it'll be up.
Yes.
Ah.
So
do you
two games remaining against the Islanders.
One last thing before we go, and this is way in the future. I just want to know: do you think that when the Rangers do eventually play the Devils, that it will be a payback game for Rempe if he plays? Do you think they will take advantage of our players, or
I think they're
go
going
after
to.
Rempe?
I think they're going to go after him. Yeah,
You think hijinks will ensue?
I do.
Okay.
To the point where I'm not even sure you play Rempe that night.
Load management.
Load management.
Load management. Okay.
By the way, lots of 3 or 4 national broadcasts for the Rangers. The rest of the
good.
way.
I need a break from these clowns.
A couple of TNT games, I think, and a couple of ABC games.
Huh.
So.
All right. Well,
I got.
Yeah, that's all I got.
We said it
I'm
all.
spent, as they say. I got it all out. Thank you for letting me vent, Jim, and the rest of you. And I don't think I was too. I've had a lot of gripes.
There's not a lot to gripe about. If you got a lot to gripe about right now, I don't know what to tell you.
Well, next week I'll tell you about meeting Jimmy Walker.
Yes, I'm excited to hear about those stories.
Yeah,
might have to block out 3 hours for next week's show.
Or is the TV Land Hour, as Matt Morello calls it.
Mike Latham calls it that.
Oh, Mike Latham. I'm sorry.
Thank you, everybody, for being here. Big crowd tonight. Lots of people watching on Twitter and Australia and United Kingdom. We love all you guys. We'll see you next week. Let's go, Rangers.
Let's do it.
Eddie,
Let's go in.
Always a pleasure.
It's always it's a love fest between me and you. I love it. Thank you so much for the thank yous, and we'll see you next week.
We'll see you soon. We love you. Good night, everybody.
Good night.